This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
So did you watch it?
Ding, 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 ding.
Did you watch it? Governor Pritzker's budget address yesterday?
No, I'm catching up on Empire.
Oh, that's right. What season are you on?
0.
Okay.
Season 0 of Empire.
Pritzker, of course, came out swinging because, the budget deficit, the $134 billion pension crisis. I think it's $15 billion in unpaid bills. That's all, whose fault that is. It's Ronner's fault.
During a time of unprecedented economic growth across the country, we lost 4 valuable years because of an ideological battle. That stops now.
Yeah,
And what
he's
promised,
an idiot.
Yeah, what he promised yesterday. He's proposing $1.1 billion in new spending. Are you ready? How is he going to pay for it? He wants to legalize and tax recreational marijuana. We knew that was coming. Legalize and tax sports betting. Tax insurance companies. Raise money from a plastic bag tax. Electronic cigarette tax. And raise the cigarette tax.
Maybe you should put a plastic bag over his head.
Hey there
I
now.
mean, seriously. An ideological battle? We have to listen to this garbage?
There's no hiding from it. There's no running from it. There's no lying about it.
You are running from it,
I choose a
fat
fair
ass.
tax system to get us out of this mess.
Bruce.
I can say it. I'm Jewish.
Okay.
And he's Jewish.
Republicans
You're
responded.
a shamda on the religion.
I don't know
what
that means, but I think it's
Whatever.
a derogatory term.
Yes.
It was one that was mainly addressed towards his constituency.
This budget is a joke. More of the same. Higher taxes, more spending. That's the Pritzker plan. His money will stay in the Bahamas and the trusts, and people in this state will have to pay higher taxes.
The graduated income tax that he professes, I think, works in other states to diminish economic opportunity. And we just fundamentally disagree on how you create economic opportunity.
Because he wants Illinois to move from a flat income tax system to a graduated one. Somebody who watched the entire budget address,
What
Bruce,
do we need to talk to her
Kristen McQueary from the Chicago Tribune, columnist and editorial board member. Good morning, Kristen. How are you?
Hi, Kristen.
Good morning, Bruce and Amy. Hello.
Don't use bad language
Hi.
like Bruce just used, okay?
Well, she can't.
I
She's a
know.
shiksa.
I'm thinking
You're a shiksa.
you should start speaking Spanish to him and putting him in his place.
All right, so what was the most egregious part of this budget address for you personally?
The beginning, the middle, or the end, or all of them? Hey!
I mean, I'm used to watching budget addresses, so I wouldn't say that anything was terribly personally egregious, but he did come at this, he came at this saying that this was going to be a truly balanced budget, unlike the previous governor, unlike previous governors before him, and it just isn't. It's just on paper. It counts on all of these revenues that aren't necessarily going to be up and running, and then that's not really a balanced budget. And also, budgets never take into account the $15 billion in unpaid bills and the pension liability.
That's okay. It's like the federal government with Social Security and everything. And nobody cares. We kick the can down the road. Let me ask you this, Kristen. He wanted sports betting, so that perks my ears because I won a couple of Emmys for sportscasting.
Oh my gosh.
No, here's the thing.
I mean, honest to God.
In the sports
Here
betting,
we go.
Here we go, Kristen. You ready? Enough about me. What do you think of me?
In the sports betting, will we be allowed to expand it, like to be able to bet how much Jussie Smollett is going to get, for example? Have they gone into the details on that, or is that just kind of he's drawing the broad outlines of it?
There are actually some bills that have been floating around for a couple of years to legalize it. Most of it is just online. And again, I think the revenue that they're projecting to get from online sports betting is just, they're not going to meet those expectations. We're saturated with gambling in general. Same with his idea for like a plastic bag tax, even marijuana. I don't know if you guys are getting your pot brownie recipes together, but I think we're going to have. I just don't think the revenue from something like that is going to be maybe as lucrative and also as immediate as he believes it will.
Well, how about the money that's going to be saved by cutting out that minuscule private scholarship program? Because with education in the dumper, what we of course want to do is deter anybody from coming up with any creative solutions.
Okay, so that is actually the most personally egregious part of the budget, and I've been very open about and written lots of columns about my support for the Opportunity Scholarship Program and school choice. And the idea that someone like the governor who sends his kids to Francis Parker, one of the most elite private schools, tuition is around $35,000 to $40,000 a year. He doesn't send his kids to their neighborhood public school.
Oh, of course
The
not.
fact that he wants to strip school choice for this tiny little program that just got up and running, to me is just really is hypocrisy. And there are so many lawmakers down there also who went to Catholic school or private school, who send their own kids to Catholic school or private school, who will vote to now disrupt the lives of all of these kids who are in their first year under this program at a different school.
But he wants to tell the people to donate what to do with their money because he wants them to take that money and pour it into public schools.
You know what? Even people who send their kids to private schools pay property taxes that fund CPS. CPS just got a huge block of money from our income taxes that we send to the state through the new school funding formula. So CPS gets plenty of money. The fact that schools are failing and have been chronically failing in CPS never seems to be upper mind of a lot of these politicians. That's why parents are leaving, because they want better results. I was just at a Catholic school a few months ago in Chicago Heights, which is a predominantly the kids going to the school are predominantly minority, Hispanic, Black. They come from everywhere. These are parents they're truck drivers, nurses, single moms. They're so excited that their kids are going to have this Catholic school experience. The school has excellent results. And now some of them might not be able to finish there if this program gets completely dissolved.
But why is he doing this? I mean, it's so
because he's a liberal Jewish Democrat, and I can say that because I'm Jewish. You know, we're the most self-loathing pieces of garbage in the world. We're horrible because it's tikkun olam. No, it's Hebrew. We've got to heal the world, and we think we got to do that through government action, and all we ever do is F it up. And now, because of Rauner, we're going to visit this fat piece of crap on us. Is that eloquent?
Boy.
Was I eloquent?
I mean,
was I eloquent
my
there,
goodness.
Kristen?
I don't think you really hit the marks for eloquence on that one.
Okay,
I
let me
would point out
amend
actually
that.
a
Portly
lot of-
guy. Yes. Go
a
ahead.
lot of Jewish schools have been pressuring the governor to not roll this program back because there are lots of parents who want their kids to have that religious experience, and so.
Oh, no. You don't
a lot of
understand.
Jewish
He doesn't
schools-
send his kids to a Jewish school.
No,
he sends them to Francis Parker.
Who, by the way, we're
I
playing
know.
Friday night, and we're going to kick their butts.
I hope you do.
We always do. We're scrappy. Kristen McQueary, I wanted to move on to Kim Fox, our lovely Cook County State's attorney who decided to recuse herself from the Jussie Smollett case because she talked on the phone to one of his relatives a few days ago. Well, how in the world did she not know that she shouldn't have done that?
I don't know, because that relationship has not been made clear. I don't know if this was a really close family friend, and you've been in those situations where someone calls you and you have a conversation that you think is just maybe she's giving some guidance on how to handle these sorts of accusations or what to do with the state's attorney's office. But what happened was whoever she spoke with on the phone, who's a relative of Jussie's, is going to possibly be a witness now in his criminal case. So she had to step aside. I'm not seeing it as like, hugely egregious. I think it's always better to call yourself out on these conflicts. But in the future, maybe not have those conversations with family members in the first place. Right off the bat, just say I can't talk about it.
Kristen, stop making sense and let's move to some absurdity here. President Trump is coming under fire for prejudicing the Smollett jury pool by saying, if I had sons, they'd look like the guys, those two black guys wearing ski masks were trying to look like. Should the president stop tweeting things like this that I just made up?
I've always said he should stop tweeting, but he's not going to, obviously.
Bruce lives in a hypothetical world.
Isn't it great
right
that
now?
Yes,
Trump...
I know.
His line of questioning is crazy right now?
But it is
so don't answer
interesting
that question?
that Trump has actually not tweeted about this.
No, he did respond. They asked him, right at the beginning, and he, had words of, he just said, it's a horrible thing that happened, and
but he hasn't really gotten
to
all
the
over
bottom.
this. He's probably been
I don't
told by
want him
people
to.
not to
It's
say
perfect
something.
not to say. I think he's playing this perfectly.
Can
What do you
Kristen
think?
say something about this, Amy?
Yeah.
I don't know that he's even caught up, because one thing that's been very interesting about this story is locally, we're all over it. Amy's been all over it. the newsroom at the Tribune, I mean, people were skeptical from the start, but it's
Yep.
taking a while for the nation and national news media to catch up to this story. And so I don't even know that he's aware of all the twists and turns.
You know what's interesting? You just mentioned the Tribune. You know, normally, and I'm going to put you on the spot here so you can not answer if you don't want to. Normally, it's the newspapers that are on top of this all the time. It's been the local yokel TV reporters whom I have nothing but contempt for, but I've got to admit, they're the ones who've been all over this, plus that CWB site. Would you agree or disagree on this?
Well, I would disagree because, first of all, Bruce, I know that you don't read newspapers.
That's right. Yeah.
He
So
just
you-
reads tweets.
I read Kristen McQueary every Tuesday. What more do you want from me?
The newsrooms have been, I mean, they have to be very careful in not,
I don't.
in just printing what they know to be factual in the case. But there have been lots of clues in stories about this where you can tell that the reporters are not sold on it, are raising questions, citing anonymous sources. That's been the case in print as well.
Because I never see people, because I live my whole entire life on Twitter. I never see the Tribune people or the Sun-Times people, like I do in so many other stories, as the ones that we can plagiarize from. Now I'm seeing, like your Rob L. guy, your Rafer Y guys, those guys.
Well, because they were getting leaked the information.
But I'm not seeing the newspaper people on that. Am I wrong about this, Kristen? Tell me.
No, I think the newspapers have been too.
Okay.
I think they've been on top of it. I think all local media, they all talk to each other. The print people talk to the TV people
yes.
at all these press conferences. So
Right.
It's been there. I think probably so many people, Bruce, now have blocked you on Twitter that maybe you're not seeing some of the print people and their
Boom
content.
goes the
I am
dynamite.
out of here. That is the unkindest cut of all. I have never been so insulted over the truth in my life.
Kristen McQuarrie, I didn't think I could love you any more than I already do, but thank you so much for that. We'll have to leave it there
Don't
for
block
today.
me. Don't block me, Kristen.
You can follow Kristen McQuarrie,
Never.
Chicago Tribune. She's a columnist and editorial board member. Follow her on Twitter at State House Chick. Thanks you so much, Kristen.
No, State House Chick.
I said State House Chick.
I thought you said State House Chick.
Oh, Kristen,
Okay.
bye. So
Bye,
good talking
bye.
to you.
Good luck.
This
Bye.
is you get
Best
to
of
leave.
luck.
Hugs. Hugs.
And
Bye.
she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer.